Hi, it's TJ and welcome back to the Warp 9 YouTube channel. There's a question you hear a lot and something you might be wondering yourself. Do you need to know scripting to get started with DevOps? I've got an answer for this, and that is no. You don't need to know scripting. However, just before you skip off and close this video thinking you don't need to know anything, I've got a different solution. So hear me out. Learn a programming language. Even if it's just the basics of a programming language, that is going to take you so much further than it will learning scripting. What do I mean by this? Let's say you learn JavaScript. You learn about variables, you learn about if statements, you learn about loops, and you learn about functions. That's pretty much all you'll need to know to succeed with scripting. A lot of what we do with scripting is trying to automate things. And this is the big secret, but I think a lot of people get hung up on. And look, it's going to cause some controversy online because there'll always be someone saying, no, that's not true. If you look up online a script to do something, pretty much 99% of the time, there is a script that someone has already written. The key thing you need to know is how you can then take that script and adapt it to your needs. Now, by learning a bit about a basic programming language, and like we use JavaScript for an example, but it could be Java, could be Python. That's quite a useful one for automation as well. Because a lot of the time it can usually be something like bash scripting that is used to automate. And because you would then know the basics about variables and loops and functions, you can then take that bash script, customize it to your needs, and that's it done. If you need to save time, you're not going to be scripting something from scratch. In some cases you might need to be, but if it's something quite big or like a backup script, there's normally something online. So you can save a lot of time by just copying something, adapting it to your needs, and that can be the end finished product. But you may be wondering, why pick a programming language? Well, one, it looks really good on your CV. Two, you can expand your knowledge and maybe you want to become a developer at some point. And thirdly, it gives you a little bit more insight into what the developers will be doing and what they're working with. Plus, there's a lot more tutorials on that as well. If you look up online, JavaScript syntax, really straightforward. You can get started right away with that. Now, you may be wondering about some other scripting languages you might see going around, like Golang, Python, and usually, last but not least, we have bash scripting. If you know the fundamentals of one, you can pretty much apply the same principle. There's nothing that really changes between them. The syntax is a little bit different, but the key concepts, as we mentioned, variables, functions, if statements, and loops, the fundamentals of those will pretty much remain the same across any scripting language. So now it's going to be a lot easier to learn the syntax of Golang if you've been working with Python than it will be to go in there by scratch with nothing at all. I think one of the hardest things when it comes to scripting versus programming is coming up with some sort of idea. Because every time I've had to script something, or pretty much all the times, it's been something work related. It's been a job I don't want to do. And for example, one of the ones I remember best was a backup script. We had to manually copy all the files. Now before that, I'd been working with PHP. So I had that programming background, but I hadn't been working with scripting directly. So when I looked at the requirements, first thing I did, go online, have a look, backup script. Okay, this will copy the file between two locations. And this was on a Windows system, so this would be going in a batch file. So then I had to look that up, worked out there's a backup script to copy from one location to another. I took that, changed the paths, added a couple of little things in there, also for like piping the output, so we had some sort of log and traceability. Then set it as a scheduled job, and that was it done. Probably the hardest part is then if you think, okay, I want to learn scripting, there are probably some really good guides out there online you can use for ideas. But personally, I find the best inspiration comes from work. There's something you've actually got there, something tangible and something you need to automate or script. At home, it's a little bit harder, but that's the flip side. By learning a programming language, there's a lot more stuff online. You can create little games, you can create simple, basic little applications you can play around with. And I think by getting that gentle start and it's something easy and tangible you can see from that, also it's a fantastic skill. You might later decide to become a developer and you can use that skill and springboard from there. So to pretty much sum it up, the TLDR of this video is don't worry about scripting, learn the basics, and that's the key word, the basics of a programming language, the syntax used. And then if there is a script you need, have a look online, find something, copy it and adapt it to your needs. In the worst case scenario, there isn't anything available. Because you now know the fundamentals of programming, it's going to be very easy to then go ahead, look at the syntax for the scripting language of your choice, and then go ahead and implement it. I hope this helps you out, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.